And we're back. Hope you guys saved some pizza for the rest of us.
Yep, and now we're going to talk about the latest episode. I believe it's episode 6, maybe 7. And basically the funny part is it starts out with Donatello making a big chart on all the possible ways he can ask out April.
Well, actually, no. It really starts with Mikey and Donnie, or
Oh yeah, that's right. Before the...
Demonstrating the whole plot,
Yeah,
not the...
with
Demonstrating the whole, life lesson of the episode, which is never think, or don't think too much.
they don't sense when they should move.
Yeah. And after this, we have the epic intro that we just love so much, making us rock our heads to the intro. And then we begin the episode properly. And yeah, like I mentioned before, he has the flow chart with all the possible ways to hang out with April that will counter no matter which question or whatever thing she might say.
Yeah, like my non-nerdy qualities include shark wrestling.
Yeah, that was
Right?
random.
How many sharks have you actually wrestled? And why would April be impressed by that?
That wouldn't sound like a fun day. Want to watch me wrestle some sharks? Pass. And then, of course, April herself comes in, which makes the Don hide that flowchart. And she has a computer.
But as soon as they leave, Leo's like, well, yeah, she shows up and says, oh, yeah, I found this. And she shows a video that has Dr. Falco explaining that his colleague, Dr. Rockwell, has gone missing. And he doesn't know where he is or what happened to him, but he fears the worst. And she says, oh, maybe this has something to do with my father, because the Krang have been kidnapping scientists.
Yeah. I like how the extra detail we saw when we're looking at through Paige's laptop, because it's just so closer. You still see Mr. Felipe Gambe de la Costa or whatever on the corner of that computer screen. Those little things you miss when you're watching on TV, because of course it's farther away from you and everything. And then, and it's so weird though. Her father's a psychologist or something, and like they'll mention this episode. It's still like they're kidnapping scientists all over town. It must be there. It doesn't say there like I don't know what it can be. My father though, he's a psychologist or whatever. I mean, I know that doesn't get brought up in another episode, but it's so weird how they don't mention that now. You know?
Yeah, and like it's funny they were saying like they are taking the scientists out of the city tonight, and the only people we see them taking out of the city is April and her father. So where are the other scientists? No one seems to care.
They never rescued anybody else, did they? They just rescued April's father. We never see like the other scientists or whatever getting rescued.
Like when Donnie makes that vow saying like, oh, we won't rest until we find your father and reunite you with him, Leo agrees to it mainly because he's saying, yeah, we're more interested in finding the Krang, but if we find your father, yeah, we'll rescue him too.
Gee, I never thought that till now. But then again, you know, the cartoon does have limited, I guess, like CGI models. If you had other scientists, it would probably be that guy that owned a cat with a lab coat on him or something, and like other such repetitive characters.
It would be just like the Krang.
Yeah, it'll be like the Krang. That would be so lazy. One of the scientists looking like one of them Krang guys with a mustache on
like,
or something.
it'd just be like concept of a scientist and just repeat it over and over and over again.
Mm-hmm. At the Double Dragon game, remember the bad guys dressed up like the scientists and everything?
Or using some of the generic civilian models and just put lab coats on them.
Yeah, the random bum with a lab coat. That'd be funny.
Or what about the generic blonde lady in the black dress?
Yeah, they have all these. They have a random blonde lady. They have the bum. They have that weird guy that owned a cat. They have the little pizza delivery guy, the little pizza delivery guy with a lab coat on.
It'll be like the guy with the cat. The guy will have it, and the little kitty cat will be on his shoulder.
Yeah, that'd be funny. The same cat will be on his shoulder.
Well, yeah, because we see the guy with the cat working at the TCRI building, hiding under a desk.
He wasn't he the guy that was saying the whole, isn't that you, Baxter? That was that same guy, right?
Yeah, he's like, hey, it's Baxter Stockman!
Well, they can't all just be at home every day. They need a job.
Yeah. But it's like even that scene where the mutagen was falling in that season premiere thing, there was the Shredder's dog was randomly out there somewhere.
Oh yeah, Hachiko.
Yeah, so it's like so lazy. And every time a
Well,
cat
he
comes out,
did get he did get a new pet. So, dang dog, you're not mutated. You can't fight. Let's get rid of you. We have a new dog. Come here, doggy.
that would be funny. Come on, Hachiko, it's time for walkies.
Here's your squeaky toy. Squeak, squeak.
Well, Hachiko was actually named after an actual dog in Japanese history.
We never knew that.
Yeah, I'll talk about that later when Hachiko actually does show up.
Yeah, for that split-second cameo to explain where her dog pound came from. But yeah, but let me see. Where were we? Okay, so Donatello uses this chance as a perfect chance to hang out with April but by himself, so they could like go out and investigate the scientist teams. Because none of the turtles never didn't really seem to care that much.
And that's also on the flow chart. Don't forget that part.
Yeah,
Raph is like, that would be funny if it's on the flow chart. Or he said something like, it can't be on the flow chart. And he lost it and like, there it is.
And he's like, wow, that's spooky. And yeah, I think it's essentially he and April go off to investigate her father because the other guys are busy or don't want to come or whatever.
yeah, they're busy watching TV. They were just sitting there in the tables, like they couldn't be bothered to go out and check it out.
He's like, "Oh, wait, you guys are busy? Okay." And like, come on, it's like kind of obvious like he's
Gonna get some April.
yeah, it's like he's wanting April to himself. So, like April's like kind of going like, "Okay."
And you go to the lab and they find they find like all this equipment and broken cages and junk, and they get attacked by Falco.
And they found mutagen. Don't forget that.
Oh yeah, they found mutagen too. And
Yeah, and after they turn the light on and Donatello explains like, "Okay, I'm not here to hurt you. I'm just here for some answers."
Well, you did hurt me.
I like that part, the exchange. I'm not here to hurt you. You already did hurt me. I mean, not anymore.
Yeah, and they explain he comes off like as Falco like really tries to play himself off as a very respectable guy who yes, he is very concerned about his colleague. He doesn't know what happened to him. And oh, yeah, Rockwell had owned a monkey. The monkey wasn't taken care of very well, and it's possible that the monkey may have dragged Tyler Rockwell off with him.
And that is creepy though, 'cause when they showed the empty cage, was like blood there, wasn't it?
To an extent, yeah, I think.
As much as could be shown, for a kiddie cartoon and blah blah blah. They didn't.
With limited budget, yes. Because those pixels do cost money.
Yes, blood pixels are very expensive pixels.
They had to spend their own blood to get blood.
Oh, jeez.
They had to donate blood to use blood. Pixelated blood, I mean.
And just as they're leaving, they of course get attacked by a monkey, a giant mutant ape, and Donnie gets like seriously injured because of it.
It was interesting seeing Don fight hand-to-hand combat without his staff for a while.
Yes, yes, that has to be one of the most embarrassing fights he's ever had to be in.
Paige also pointed out, like at least in this particular episode, whenever he pulls out the bow staff, there's always that boing kind of sound from the stick, always. Like in this particular episode in particular.
Like, staff boner jokes aside.
Well, not that kind of boing, but you know what we mean. I mean
The stupid sound effect. No sexual references. And it's the first time I didn't do any sexual references.
Yes, we don't want to know about how Don handles his wooden staff. Thank you very much.
Ew. I don't want to know.
This is the first incarnation where they've actually had wooden pole sounds with his staff.
Paige, stop it.
Yeah, that was her fault that time.
Okay. Oh wow. But yeah, that is true. They do. Okay, now talk about wood. Let's skip the wood. It would be if I was not here and it's just like you guys talking with Don said. That would be like the three girls discuss Turtles wood. for about 2 hours.
I'm sorry for getting her started.
Okay, well, anyways.
Actually, Mark started that one.
Okay, stop.
No, yeah, never mind.
Anyways, okay. Anyways, Donatello loses embarrassingly to the monkey, but later he explains that it was kind of like if the monkey could predict all of his moves and everything during the fight.
Well, they explain that a little later after April looks at the flash drive that Donnie happened to snitch off the desk at the laboratory.
Yes.
But before that, they figured it's the emotions kind of triggered him. Like April explained that whenever Donnie was attacking him, he felt rage. Whenever he encountered April, he felt calmness. So that's what she figured out before figuring out the big reveal.
Yeah.
Yeah, so Donnie gets beaten till he's unconscious, then when he attacks April, he suddenly pauses and it's like he's trying to explain something but can't. Whether it's physically because of his mutation or because he or whatever, or mentally cannot because
Yeah.
Monkey Hulk.
because he's literally stripped himself of his humanity or something, or he's been stripped of his humanity, and then he runs off. April drags Donnie back to the lair, and
where he's mentally abused by his brothers.
Well, first they are all concerned as to what happened, but then when they learn he's going to be okay, they all laugh at him and say "Oh yeah, I can't believe you were beaten by a monkey. That is so pathetic," or something. And April walks out, glares at the other three turtles, and she's like, are you guys teasing him because he got hurt?"
And then Mikey comes in and makes it worse.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I like how Dawn's phrased this situation in her her review of this episode. She said April starts to see Donnie in a new light, because before it was this friend who had this creepy sort of attraction to her, but now she kind of has more of a sense of compassion for him, because she sees how hard it is for him to be a mutant and in general, and also how hard it is for him to be with his brothers and whatnot. Because it can't be easy. I mean, he's not the strongest fighter, so he's held back by that limitation. He is also the smartest, but they don't really respect that yet.
He's a thinker, not a fighter. Well, he's a fighter, but he's more of a thinker.
He likes to think without resorting to battle, which is why he usually excels at battles that rely on what's the word for it?
Like strategy and stuff.
Not really strategy.
Solutions. I don't know.
Kind of, yeah.
Problem solving, technology.
Things that can come to conclusion without coming to blows, essentially.
So let me see. So after this, oh yeah, the turtles and April all head out to try to capture the monkey before it hurts anybody.
Well, before that, after Donnie's all healed up, has this moment where he's sitting by the pool, really moping. He's like, how could I lose to something so mindless? I'm a trained martial artist. I should be better than this. And Splinter says, "Oh, you are very intelligent, but in a fight, you cannot be in your head."
Fight between the thoughts. Something like that.
And then he demonstrates by punching at Mikey, and Mikey avoids every blow, even though he has these headphones on and his eyes are closed. And he says, "See, Mikey doesn't think."
And he has so much space between his thoughts. Something like that again from Donnie, hinting that he is in her head. Woo!
Yes, I find it interesting that Splinter uses the affectionation for Michelangelo at this scene rather than just simply saying Michelangelo does not think.
But yes, Michelangelo does have other challenges. Well, so then after that, I think they do go out into the city. And that's a pretty cool montage of the turtles running around the city, all the different angles they use, and Mikey
Oh, we can't
skateboarding.
forget about the
Oh yeah,
T-phone.
the T-phone.
Yes, and Mikey is whining that he wanted to name it the T-phone. And Donnie's like, I've already named it the T-phone. And he's like, yeah, but I wanted to name it the T-phone.
Yeah.
Too bad.
And I also like to point out it's kind of funny how it reflects how technology keeps changing, because back in the 80s cartoons, the turtle coms were basically like turtle style walkie talkies, so to speak. And then in the 2003, the shell cells are basically, they're cell phones. And now the T phone, it's like an iPhone, basically. So it was like funny, if they ever make
Play games.
another turtle show in 2000, whenever, they'll have a turtle, whatever we're going to be using at that time.
Tablets.
I remember our RPG commenting like, "Oh, I hope they don't have tablets."
That might be in the future. Maybe like their T phones get busted and don't worry guys, I got the T tablet. The shell tablet.
The T
Well,
the
it's
T
kind
iPhone.
of like
Well, isn't that kind of like what Donnie's tech tab was?
When was that? They already announced that?
No, remember in the 2003, Donnie had kind of like a something that looked kind of like a tablet computer, which he called his tech tab.
When was that? I must have missed those episodes. Was it like the normal episodes or was that during like fast forward or something?
During the normal episodes, like I remember seeing it during the season 4, like the Sons of the Forgotten Age or something, or that.
I've never seen that episode. But what would be epic would be in the next Turtles incarnation they have like the Avengers Iron Man type floating screens as they're observing all the information. That would be epic. In Turtles lab or something.
Well, I mean, Donnie's sort of coming into his own as a scientist. Like so far, it's at this point they're like, okay, yeah, we don't know what to do with you. Well, we know you are a member of our team. You're a brother, but we don't know what value you really have just yet.
So yeah, back to that. The turtles have to. Oh yeah, and it also has like games and apps and everything. So that's cool. But anyways, the turtles go out looking for the monkey while Mikey is distracted with the T-phone apps and everything, games and everything, and yeah, they go out to find it and everything, and well, basically, April's the one that finds it due to her like I guess getting like sensations or feelings, so she could be able to track him down. And this was Mikey ties it up with his Kusarigama, and then everyone is like, okay, so now what do we do with him? And doesn't get us any closer to finding Dr. Rockwell. Then April looks at the monkey closer, and she gets like I guess a strange feeling about him or something, and she determines that the monkey is actually Dr. Rockwell that has somehow been mutated into a monkey.
Yeah, so they take him back to Falco, and Falco's like, "Oh yes, poor Tyler. I don't know if I will be able to cure him. I doubt I will, but I can at least try to give him something of a normal life."
Putting on, oh my god, oh my poor best friend, such a tragedy. He's trying to act all nicey nice.
hmm Yeah, and then the other guys are celebrating with pizza, except for Donnie, who is too distracted with his computer to consider food.
And let's not forget, Mikey had the most tragic thing of all, deciding whether to have pizza or continue to play his video games, which is a dilemma that has affected many of us in our past.
Yes, can't stop playing, must eat pizza, can't stop playing, must eat pizza, yum!
Yep, he just literally shoves his face in the box and inhales, not eats, inhales a slice of pizza and continues playing his game.
Yeah, and like while Leo's chowing down on pizza, on his slice of pizza or whatever, he notices Donnie's not eating it, so finishes the pizza he's eating and then says, "Hey Donnie, why aren't you eating?" And Donnie says, "Sorry, I'm not hungry." But then he points out uh, that Rockwell never owned a monkey. He was experimenting with monkey DNA.
Dun dun dun.
And the guys are like, come again now? And he explains, like, well, if he didn't own a monkey, then what busted out of that cage?
Dun 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 dun.
Yes, and sure enough, he was, like, using Rockwell to harvest a neurochemical which he injects into himself, and
So now they all head back because Dr. Falco was lying. And we actually see a bit of how he injects like his brain to get it out of there. That's kind of strong.
They showed it like it's a shadow though, but still
It's still
weird.
pretty, yeah.
Weird.
Still pretty gruesome, yes.
And oh, you've always been so melodramatic. It's like, dude, you got a fucking needle in my brain. What do you expect?
yeah, and then he jabs the needle into his neck.
And of course, Paige brings up what she was telling me. We were watching the episode. One of the biggest things we do know that Falco was experimenting with mutagen and injecting the brain or whatever. But exactly why did he have to turn Rockwell into a monkey for that to work? Like,
To get the mental powers to read the mind. Monkeys can't read minds, and even are close for meth. All they do is sleep, eat, and throw their poo.
because that part was
Don't.
never explained. It's like, I don't know, or maybe he experimented on Rockwell and accidentally turned him into a monkey. I don't know where they got the "I shall mutate you into a monkey" and then inject like your.
Maybe he mutated Rockwell into a monkey because he was trying to make Rockwell disappear, and then so no one will question where he went to. And also, even if Rockwell did escape, he wouldn't be able to explain what his colleague was doing.
Yeah, but he needed to the opposite of inject to, I don't know, whatever, suck out his brain yeah, there we go, thank you. Extract his brain fluids or whatever and inject them into himself to have psychic powers. That doesn't, I mean, if we inject the turtles and, you know, put the mutagen into ourselves, we also get like super awesome psychic powers or even ninja powers. It's weird how that worked out.
He mutated Rockwell first, so that way Rockwell would not be able to say anything should he escape. But at the same time, he also used the mental capability, so that way when he did escape, or he would be able to they would learn that someone would learn that the monkey had some ability to read people's thoughts or whatever, and he realizes, okay, yeah, now that chemical is complete. So
You get all technical about it. I just think, why would you? Why a monkey?
yeah, why not a cat
No.
Shut your mouth.
or a rabbit?
Okay, that's a little bit better.
But then the turtles, of course, now they bust in. Now they're angry, but now Falco has powers. He can read their minds. He can finish their sentences before, like, they say them.
Oh, and that whole sequence with the whole predictions, it's pretty cool.
Yeah, we like that weird double shadowy effect or something. He sees all the ninja moves before they're coming, but it's still weird though, because yes, he can. I mean, it's just weird. I mean, it's cool in a way, but it's also weird in another way, because one thing is to see the moves coming. Another thing is for, you know, random scientist dude who's never probably fought in his life to be able to move fast enough to get out of the way of the moves and dodge them and removes Raph's eye and smack you in the back of the head with it. That's, I mean, I guess we could just chalk it up to saying, you know, oh, the mutagen made him more agile too or something. But it is weird because, I mean, yeah, you can see a fist coming, but if you're not fast enough to get out of the way, it'll still hit you.
Let's try it.
No.
Oh.
Yeah, so he takes out Raph, and then he takes out Leo, and like they have like that one shot where you see like Leo falling to the ground after getting hit in the head with the pommel of Raph's thigh, and you just see Mikey and Donatello standing there and watching as their brothers are getting the living snot getting beaten out of them like that. And and then
Mikey panicking about not about thinking, but not thinking at the same time. That's the end of him.
Yeah. But I do like the line about like how bad guys always have to explain their like evil stuff. I like that. Like Mike's like, it's like he's psychic, and Dan's like, he is psychic. Haven't you been paying attention? No, I kind of zoned out during the whole "I'm evil" blah 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 stuff.
yeah, and then at first he's like nonchalant. He's like, no worries, we just have to fight without thinking. And then he's like, wait, how do I fight without thinking? No, I'm thinking about not thinking. And and of course, that's the end of him because he's too distracted by not being able to think. And which leaves Donatello on his own, and Rockwell is like gloating to Donatello, saying like, "Oh, once I get rid of you, nothing will be standing in my way," because I guess he kind of assumed Donatello was the one who led them there.
And then, of course, by the way, do you really think you have a shot with April?
Low blow, man. Low blow.
Well, yeah, I think that was mainly meant to distract him.
But still, it's a low blow.
But yeah, so Don tries and fails, and then he tries to remember the lesson of the episode, and like don't think, just do, and then he actually gets to smack him down, and he does, I guess, the flying corkscrew punch of doom or something, because that was like a Street Fighter move or something, and knocks the scientist
Up, down, twist back, twist forward, and reveal Donnie's special move.
Yeah. Oh god.
Yeah, and it's all like hand-to-hand combat. He doesn't involve his bow.
Yeah. So Balco gets knocked against like an open vent or something, and while the turtles.
Knocked into the cage.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, the clothes one. Remember, I thought it was like glitched. Well, not glitched, but I thought they made a boo boo.
Mm-hmm.
Like the drawers made a boo boo, but I didn't, because I never noticed there was a second cage. So I'm like, hey, that door just closed. Now it's open again. I thought they did a boo boo, but I realized there's two cages.
Yeah, and he somehow loses his psychic abilities by getting knocked out. And all the other guys wake up. They're like, "Oh wow, thanks, Donnie," and that was impressive. And even Mikey gloats about how the backflips were where it's at.
Then they turn and Falco is gone. Dun dun dun.
Yeah, they spent too much time talking, saying like, "Oh well, now that we've got the ooze, let's see what Falco knows." Oh wait, he's gone. Where did he go?
That's what you get for turning your back. Turn your back to an evildoer.
Yeah, it's like you would think they would notice him moving. I mean, but they see Rockwell. They're like, okay, what do we do with him? And Donnie releases him, and
They just release a wild monkey to the world. A wild, angry monkey.
Yep.
yeah, and we hear like generically a Middle Eastern sounding guy yelling, "Hey, monkey, get out of the road!"
That sound like Scottish right there. But I already forgot what I was gonna say. It sucks. Oh yeah. I wonder if, since he was just randomly released into the world, I wonder if he'll ever come back in a later episode, or like a random glance, like, oh, there's that monkey again. Probably not. He never brought back that stupid spider bites.
Yeah. Well, how lazy everything is, they'll probably like have a scene where they're in the zoo and you still see like a random monkey that's not him, but they just use the same model again or something.
Maybe,
And then you see a dog, which looks like the
Hachiko?
yeah, like in the wolf exhibit or something. I don't know. It gets funny after a while.
Well,
It's a drinking game.
Hopefully, if they do bring Rockwell back, he might be able to have regain some sentience, or if or maybe Donatello might be able to help restore some sentience to
Well,
him.
that is a good drinking game though. Take one shot if you see the random blonde woman with the black dress. Take one shot if you see the pizza kid, and then two shots if you see the bum. Three shots if you see Hachiko.
He'll be drunk then.
Yeah.
You'll be gone. You'll be wasted.
That's one thing I liked about the Squirrelnoids episode. That since the drunk dude was attacked by the squirrel and they took him home for a while, it's like he became an actual character in the show, at least for the first 10 so minutes.
I wonder if he's going to be Muckman.
Who knows?
Because that would make sense, having him being a feral-minded walking pile of garbage.
Yes, we had a mutant like that in the 80s,
I
Paige.
think you told me about that before.
Yeah.
And then he probably gets a buddy named Joe Eyeball.
I know, yeah, you should see Paige rolling her eyes at those puns, but yep. Oh, the funny part is, I don't know if you watched The Honeymooners or not, because that is a pretty old, ancient show, but in the 80s cartoon, they gave Muckman and Joe Eyeball that kind of, like the two main characters of The Honeymooners kind of voice.
Yes.
Muckman did talk like, "Hey, what's going on here?" And Joe, "Hey, I'm Joy Boy. What's going on? Sheesh." Like they gave him like that kind of voice dynamic.
Like, I remember that being parodied a lot during Looney Tunes too, where they were mice.
It sounds like Yogi Bear.
Yogi Bear's voice, I think, is kind of based on that.
Martin and somebody.
Well, back to Turtles. The Turtles are home relaxing after all that stuff, and I think Splinter talks to April about the strange feeling she had earlier during the whole monkey situation, and I do like the funny exchange there, like it takes a long time to master, and it's like, well, I'm gonna get it eventually. No, I did master it, but it took me a long time. Well, I mean, no one's perfect. No, I'm not, I don't mean that.
Yeah, and he's like, "Oh, I want to train you to be a kunoichi," and she's like, "Oh, like, do I get to kick butt and break boards?" And he says, "Well, we don't believe in doing things like that, but to a degree, yes." And she's like, "Oh, cool." And he warns her it will drain her of her energy, both mentally, physically, and spiritually. And she's like, "Well, it can't be any worse than high school."
I really like the back and forth between the characters in this show. They do a good job at it.
Yeah, and then when she leaves, he sighs like, "Oh God, I have another one."
And then, of course, for the kicker at the end of the episode, April walks past Donnie and he's like, "Hey, April, want to hang out?" And she's like, "No, I'm busy. Spinner's going to teach me to be a kunoichi." And you would think that is something so completely out of left field you would never expect. And yet, Don still consults his chart and finds like an answer there. "Oh, maybe we could train sometime." "Yeah, sure."
I guess that was more like for the off chance that Splinter does start training April, like, because remember in the Mirage comics in the 2003 series, April was being trained in martial arts by Splinter. So, not specifically that she was made into a kunoichi. So, I don't think it's really because he had April getting trained as a kunoichi. It was more like April getting some training from Splinter.
Well, yeah, but knowing Donatello, he probably had it broken up into different segments. He probably had one for in case Splinter trained her just basic self defense. In case Splinter trains her, to have better posture or whatever. In case Splinter trained her to be a kunoichi or something, like he probably broke it up in different fragments.
Well, if April, like maybe if the training to be a kunoichi, it would have to be April wanting to be trained as a kunoichi, not because she.
He probably had one for what if April was offered but refused to be trained to kunoichi. He probably has all that broken up.
Yeah, all the possibilities. It's like Leo said, it's kind of creepy.
And then at the end, he brags to like Raph about like, "You see, the flowchart is awesome," and he's like rolling his eyes and cue the end of the episode.
Yeah, like April. Well, I think Raph is the most annoyed by it. Like, I mean, Mikey and Leo are definitely very tolerant of Donnie's affections for April, mainly because they accept the fact it makes him happy and whatnot. But it, and with Raph, on the other hand, it's like, geez, can you grow up? You're not going to get a relationship with her, or when are you going to realize that you're the smart guy?
Well, I like how Raph, I don't know, he basically retreats with this little newspaper he's always reading. It's like, yeah, let these guys talk their weird, crazy stuff, quoting space heroes and talking about April and talking about whatever Michelangelo talks about. I'm just gonna sit here and read my paper. Just leave me alone.
Yeah, it's like, don't involve me in your stuff. I absolutely do not care.
Exactly. But I like that. He always is in the corner reading his paper while everyone else is talking their crazy stuff. So, yeah,
That's
or
what I just
Spike.
said earlier. Or he's with his little turtle for turtle sex.
Yeah, I'd hate to see what happens when Spike mutates, I mean.
If he would talk, they'd be like best friends, I would think.
Well, here we go with, I think, to rate the episode. I can read this off now. We've been in enough episodes for the top five rating system here. If you are a fan of Venka's blogs, because she also has her own blog that you should be checking out, by the way, of all the episodes.
Plug, plug, plug.
Yes, plug, plug, plug. These are the top five ones. The first five. The first one is Epic Awesomeness, which of course would be that it's the best episode ever. Read number 4.
Good story. Not as good as awesome, and I don't know.
Well, yeah, it's not good enough to be called awesome. It has like some problems with it, but it's not bad. It's not a bad episode. Third, of course, is I wouldn't kick it out of bed for eating beans, but I wouldn't recommend it to a newcomer, which means that yes, it's an okay episode, but if you are new to the Ninja Turtles, this is not an episode you should be watching because it will turn you off completely.
Yeah. Of course, another reason that we wouldn't kick out of bed for even if it ate beans is because those discs cost like about $20. I'm not gonna throw that off the bed. But yes, and then number 2, if you've never seen it, you're not missing anything. So it's basically one of those real bad, filler, pointless episodes that really doesn't affect the story at all.
And the last one is I've read bad fan fictions that were better than this episode, which means it has to be like those really, really bad filler episodes, which fortunately I have not come across in this series. There have been some episodes of the OT series that make me want to go, oh my god, why did they do that? Seriously?
Yeah, I think Paige saw the Mr. Og episode, didn't she, with the little guy that looks like Pee Wee and was making magic stuff.
Maybe. I don't remember.
But that was a pretty groanish kind of episode.
Heck, there were some episodes of Fast Forward where they did that, and like,
Most of Fast Forward was like that, except for like the Dark Turtle episodes, I would think.
the Dark Clones, the ones that actually had the plot, but anything with triple threat in it, it was like, oh my god, why? Why? Yeah, and then that one last episode before the final episode of Back to the Sewers, they where Raph and Mikey go to Comic Con and they find a guy stealing the cape for the Green Mantle, and then Mikey um, tries it on, or Raph tries it on rather, and it gives him superpowers, and then Mikey's whining about how he should be the one with the superpowers, and then they end up tearing it in two.
I still kind of liked it though. I still liked the camaraderie between Raph and Mike in that particular episode, especially in the end where Raph just sighed and called himself Turtle Boy or whatever the sidekick name was, and Mike just hugged them all happily.
Well, Tortoise Boy, yes.
Yeah, it kind of reminds me just a little bit of the dynamic between Raph and Mike in this version, although, of course, he's not as annoying. Yeah. Well, now to rate the episode, what would you rate it, Benka?
I would definitely rate it a good episode. There could have been and more they could have expanded upon. Maybe if they had made this into a two-parter, they could have gone into more about what the effects were, and I do agree with Don's that they had they had just seen a person uh, get betrayed by his best friend, and now he's a mutant, and that could have had a serious impact on them. And of course, they ignore it because they're teenagers.
Okay,
So,
well, let me see. And my thoughts. Well, yeah, it was a good episode. I don't particularly like monkeys that much, so I didn't want an episode spent on the mutant monkey. And it was weird because he didn't really look all that mutant, except I mean, he just looked like a monkey. He didn't have any um, bizarre traits, which of course is kind of hard to do because well, monkeys are human-like anyway. You know, the weird thing is just that he was a normal human that somehow turned into an actual monkey. That's kind of weird, but I guess the interesting thing also is that when they had Dr. Falco as the bad guy, I didn't see that coming until the part where, of course, Don mentioned if we never had a monkey, dot dot dot, right? But I was like, oh man, they're gonna start having lame human bad guys like in the old show. But he was actually pretty interesting, and fight scene was cool with the the after image effect of reading minds. So he was an interesting person. I thought it was gonna be like those lame scientist bad guys from the old show, but he was a pretty interesting bad guy. And of course, we do know what happens to him later, but we won't spoil that for now for people who haven't seen it yet or whatever. But at least for right now, as it stands, he was pretty interesting though. So it was a good episode, and of course, Don and April got to hang for a bit, and it was also surprising that since the Metalhead episode was all about Don, it's interesting that they put another Don episode so quickly, one after the other.
Yeah, maybe because the first episode Donnie was coming across as too needy or too pushy, and then this one, it's like, okay, I'm going to try and appeal to ways I can be with April, but at the same time, let her choose whether she wants to hang out with me.
And be less creepy.
Yes, because, where he's like saying, like, oh, I'm getting myself goosebumps, want to feel or something. That came across as a little too much.
And what do you think of the episode, Paige?
I'll just say in the middle because I don't know. I don't really have. I don't know what to say about this episode. It has its weird moments, and it has its um, funny moments. Um, it has like an interesting concept about the mind reading. Um,
Would be better if the mind reading was explained a little more, but they did what they could with 20 minutes.
yeah, I guess I don't really know. Honestly, I don't know what to say about this episode. Just one of those episodes you just watch once and not care about later.
Yeah, because that's another thing. I'm not really. I mean, of course, like I said before, we do know what happens to Dr. Falco later, but I'm not really like that interested in seeing the monkey come back. I mean, maybe it could come out like a quick cameo. They capture him and turn him back to normal to show that the Red Mutation works, something like that. But I don't want like there's an episode called Rockwell Returns. I would be like, oh man, you're gonna spend a whole episode on that, and I really wouldn't be interested in buying a Rockwell monkey action figure either. It's just, I mean, it was interesting for the episode. He was basically interesting to show off how sadistic and cold-hearted Dr. Falco is as a villain, but I wouldn't really care to see the actual monkey come back in an episode unless it was like a cameo or flashback. I don't know.
Or they did something with him, like to help him develop as a character rather than some unfortunate who got turned into a monkey.
Yeah, or they better do something like like these other episodes do. They combine certain things. So it's like if Rockwell's coming back, they better throw in like Karai or Snakeweed or something else. So the episode's not just about him.
Like, I mean, I could see maybe Donatello trying the retromutation on him, which maybe doesn't turn him back to a human, or at least not entirely, but at the same time, regains enough sentience to sort of speak or be able to explain what happened.
You see, that would be interesting if they do that, because then if they do that to Kirby, at least Kirby would still be a talking bat mutant, and that might be interesting. That would make it more interesting.
Yeah, like once he'd be able to talk, yes, he'd be able to vent at the fact that the turtles made him into this hideous creature, but at the same time, he would also be able to rationalize and say, okay, you are trying to bring me back to who I was.
Or actually help in battle now since he can fly and stuff. Because again, they got an action figure based on the Kirby bat too, and I'm like, I don't care. He was just in there for a while and he flew off. I'm not really all that interested in buying a Kirby bat toy. So it's like,
Yeah, give me a reason to be interested.
so after a quick commercial break for you guys to go to your boxes and get some more pizza, we shall return as we discuss Never Say Sever. In case you have any other thoughts you want to add there, Venka.
Nope, not that I know of, but we do invite that people feel free to add their own thoughts to any comments or uh, speculations that we have, or even add your own speculations because we may have something that, or you may have something that we may have missed.
Yes, and if any of you would actually want to buy a Rockwell monkey figure, please tell us why.
Hey, they're obsessed over monkeys. Don't make fun of them. Sorry, those people that like monkeys. Mark is insensitive. Apologize.
Sorry. I still don't like them.
Ooh, ooh, ee. You want a banana?
No. So anyways, we shall return after word from our sponsors. YouTube, I guess. YouTube, Skype, and Audacity are our sponsors. So download Skype, download Audacity, and get your ass on YouTube.
Plug. Sponsor us.
Yes.